Dry needling to treat male and female incontinence. This is a really interesting subject, you guys, and it's something that is very poorly treated in mainstream medicine, and it's something that's very, very easily treated for the vast majority of people. So a lot of questions that I get from students about incontinence, I think it's because the way that this stuff is taught in school, but a lot of the students I get ask me about what muscles do you treat for urge incontinence, or what type of treatment do you do for urge incontinence versus stress incontinence. And I think a lot of people assume there's a difference in the way that you need to treat different types of incontinence, and that's not true. So the underlying cause of the vast majority of patients that physical therapists and athletic trainers see with incontinence, and the vast majority of people just in general with incontinence, it's all from one underlying autonomic nervous system dysfunction, which is chronic sympathetic autonomic nervous system hyperactivity. Now, that can be coming from numerous different causes, but the underlying problem with the nervous system itself is that it's stuck in chronic sympathetic autonomic hyperactivity. Very, very few people have actual structural dysfunction of the pelvic floor. So when I say structural dysfunction, I mean things like people with, advanced prostate cancer where there's an actual structural change in the pelvic floor, nerve endings nerves that have been cut during surgeries or something like that, some type of breaking of bones or damage, joint displacement, some type of structural damage. A lot of the vast majority of people that are suffering from incontinence, they don't have any actual damage to any of the structures in their pelvic floor. The problem that they're having is the sympathetic autonomic nervous system has been too hyperactive for too long, and it's depressing the parasympathetic side of the autonomic nervous system, which is just leading to widespread dysfunction of the most parasympathetic dominant innervated structures in our body, guys. So remember, the ANS is like a seesaw. If the sympathetics have gone up, the parasympathetics have been depressed. The most inhibited structures in the body are going to be the stuff in the body that have the most parasympathetic innervation. So as far as muscles go, that would be the pelvic floor and the jaw. So we're talking about the pelvic floor here right now. So S2 to S4, the sacral plexus, is one of the two dominant parasympathetic portions of our spinal column, you guys. So remember, the sympathetic part is from like C7, T1 down to like L1, L2. That's a sympathetic chain. The parasympathetic portions are upper cervical because of some of the cranial nerves and some other nerves, and then the sacral plexus, S2 to S4. So that S2 to S4 innervates all 9 of the pelvic floor muscles. So since they have such strong innervation from a predominantly parasympathetic part of the spinal column, when the sympathetics go up, they get really inhibited, they get tight, hypoxic, they stop working, they stop contracting and relaxing normally, and it leads to incontinence. So the problem appears as a pelvic floor problem. It's just that the pelvic floor is the place where the problem is presenting itself. It's not that there's an actual problem with the pelvic floor. The problem is with the autonomic nervous system. So if we can regulate the autonomic nervous system, shift things back to a more neutral homeostatic level, it is amazing the results you can get with incontinence. I fix people that have had decades of incontinence all the time in just a handful of treatments. It's really, really awesome. Pelvic health stuff, you guys, with needling, I never figured that this would be the case, but it's really, it's my favorite thing to do because you get such amazing, life-changing results for people in very, very short order. And the reason that it happens in such dramatic fashion with these types of impairments is just it's because of the way that the nervous system is set up, and the pelvic floor just so happens to be a predominantly parasympathetic part of our body. And because humans just typically go into sympathetic hyperactivity just from living, any type of mental, physical stress, strain, pain, or trauma causes the sympathetic autonomic nervous system to elevate. The longer you've been alive, the more time your nervous system has to just compound these little aggravations to it. And the things that really start to dysfunction first are typically things in the pelvic area and in like the jaw and upper cervical area as people get to mid-age. I'm 42, you guys. 40% of 40-year-old guys, according to our government statistics, have some type of erectile dysfunction, and that percentage goes up like 10% per decade. And a huge percentage of people have incontinence. And it's not just elderly people, which I think a lot of people would think. A lot of the people that have incontinence, you guys, are high school, especially female college and high school athletes. Huge problem with that. And again, it has nothing, there's no like serious problem. There's just a nervous system dysfunction that can easily be fixed with needling. And we're going to talk about that in a second here. But it's really, really cool, you guys. So it's one of my favorite things to treat. All right, you guys, so bladder dysfunction and autoimmune disease is very, very common to have some type of correlation between incontinence and some type of unusual autoimmune thing. So remember, you guys, a huge percentage of people have some type of autoimmune thing going on that is not diagnosed or that they just don't know like how to fix. They're considered idiopathic autoimmune diseases where basically your body is reacting to itself, typically from things that you're putting into your body, things that you're eating. But whatever the reason is, people with autoimmune diseases, they really, really respond well to dry needling because dry needling makes the autonomic nervous system more homeostatic, and autoimmune diseases are causing the sympathetic nervous system to elevate and the body starts attacking itself. It causes all sorts of inflammation. So same type of thing as chronic sympathetic hyperactivity for non-autoimmune problems. More or less the same thing is happening to your nervous system with an autoimmune disease. So anybody that has like any type of food allergies or any fibromyalgia, all these things are considered, somewhat of an autoimmune disease. And dry needling can totally fix these things, you guys. A huge percentage of all these autoimmune diseases, they're just secondary to the sympathetic nervous system in the body being too elevated for too long. And again, it's from a combination of lifestyle factors. A huge percentage of it is eating processed food and putting bad things into your body. So if you can treat people with dry needling and specifically target the autonomic nervous system and talk to them about things like nutrition, which we have 5 nutrition classes, you guys, online nutrition classes are really awesome. And I made them specifically to go along with dry needling and to help our patients and help ourselves improve people's health, because this is just not stuff that people are going to get. Patients are not going to get this education from typical mainstream medical practitioners. And we can really, really take a step in and make a huge difference in a huge amount of people's lives without any expensive medication. These are just simple lifestyle changes and treatments like dry needling, you guys. So I don't treat guys and girls differently when as far as like, I don't think about treating male incontinence any differently than I think about treating female incontinence, you guys. I get that question sometimes from students, like, do you treat guys and girls differently? And the answer is no. We're going to go over in this PowerPoint here kind of some of the things that I think about doing and one specific treatment in general, you guys. But for males and females, I treat every patient on an individual level, but I don't see any specific difference between males and females as far as things to do in treatment for incontinence. Okay, so this is a really neat treatment, you guys. So posterior tibial nerve stimulation, PTNS. So I've included one 2017 study in here, which is a good one, you guys. And then I included one, I think it's from 2024 or 2025. We're going to see it in a second. And they both say more or less the same thing. So just to kind of sum up the difference between the two studies that we're going to talk about. So first, we're going to talk about this 2017 study. So in this study, they were looking at brain fMRIs with this needling treatment to see, okay, when you do this needling treatment, which is a treatment in the ankle and the foot, which we'll talk about, they're looking at a part or a couple of parts in the brains, but one of the specific areas at the fMRI where they're looking is called the PMC, the Pontine Micturition Center, in the pons in the brain. So that's one of the primary urinary control centers where they can see unusual neurophysiology with people with incontinence. So there's typically hypoxia in that part of the brain. There's abnormal neuronal firings. It's just like there's a little concussion in that part of the brain, you guys. So PTNS alters the signals involved in the voiding reflex via the autonomic nervous system, because like we mentioned, when the sympathetic autonomic nervous system gets too hyperactive, the most inhibited structures in the body are the most parasympathetic structures, and those just happen to be some of the muscles in the pelvic floor, including the detressor muscle, you guys, which is around the bladder, right? So another thing that they can look at, and that has been talked about as far as posterior tibial nerve stimulation, you guys, is they look at parts of the trigeminocervical complex. So that is a part that's incorporated with the trigeminal nerve and the jaw. And it's really the trigeminal nerve on the brain side, but you can really activate and decrease sympathetic hyperactivity of the trigeminal cervical complex by needling up in here in the jaw and the upper cervical area. But they've shown similar effects on the trigeminal cervical complex in the brain by doing this PTNS treatment in the feet, right? So this is another great example of why you should always treat as much of the body as you can each time you treat people, because we really don't have a good understanding of like how all this stuff works. But with studies like this, like we can see it clearly that if you're trying to treat the brain, you'd want to think that like needling up here would be better because it's like closer to the brain. These nerves are coming out of the brain. It's closer. It makes logical sense. However, and this is totally like an acupuncture thinking way of thinking about it, or the way that acupuncturists think about it, is like using distal parts to control proximal areas or to control the brain, and it works extremely well, right? So if we're trying to regulate the autonomic nervous system with needles, needling around nerves should be one of the stimuli that is allowing us to change the brain, right? So we do have lots of nerves in our feet and our hands. So who knows, maybe it's just like the amount of nerves that are there. Maybe there are some certain meridian paths that I don't think the acupuncture meridians are how they think they are, but that we do have energy lines flowing throughout our body. So there's a whole bunch of things that it could be, but the bottom line is, and the most important thing for us right now, you guys, to help our patients right now, is we know that these treatment, we know the cause and the overall effect, right? So the cause or the treatment would be needling, and then the effect would be a massive decrease or total remittance of incontinence, and we can see the changes happening in the brain. So we do the treatment, we can see the brain changes, and then we can see the outcome. Exactly how all that stuff is working, we don't understand, but the important thing is that it's safe and it's super duper effective. This is a clip from our online dry needling 2 class, Dry Needling to Improve Men's and Women's Pelvic Health. This is a great class. Check it out on our website, intricateartseminars.com, to get the full 10 CEU fully online class.